All right, so I got another author that I had actually met in person. We hung out at a Nink in Tampa, and we actually sat next to each other. We went to dinner, a group of us, all of the tropical authors.
Mhm.
So that was pretty cool. So let's start with uh, Chris. How did you get involved with the tropical authors group?
Well, I had kind of always written stuff, and in 2017, 2018, I started, I was recommended Wayne Stinnett's books and started reading them. And I'm like, hey, this looks fun. This looks like something I could do. I grew up in Florida. My family had boats and I plowed around in the hammock all the time. And so, yeah, it's like, I know this world.
Right.
Um, so I wrote a draft and a mutual friend shared it with Wayne, and Wayne's like, this isn't half bad, and here I am.
So tell everybody real quick about your books.
Sure. My books are the Shark Key Adventure series, starting with Lost Key and following with a variety of other lost relics, lost fleet, and lost gems. And I am just starting work on book 5 after a bit of a hiatus. And they are the story of Kate Kingsbury, who was widowed, married to a police officer, was widowed, and took her pension, adopted a retired canine, and drove until the road ran out, drove south. And so she lives on a houseboat in Key West, and through a variety of just circumstances has discovered that she finds things for people. And so she goes out searching for things along with her little band of ragtag people from the marina, and they just have adventures.
So for you, is there, obviously, Florida well, that world. Is there a lot of autobiographical in there, or is it off the top of your head?
It's more top of my head or the person I wish I could be. I am significantly older than Kate, and I think I don't want to say my adventuring days are over, but my body cannot hold up to the level of adventure that Kate participates in. But I am a diver. I do enjoy boating. My brother, a lot of it's based on my brother. It's more autobiographical about my brother. He's a little bit younger. He got his captain's license when he was 18. He's been boating. I think he ran his own solo sailboat when he was like 9 years old. He kept getting pulled over by the Coast Guard, and they would quiz him on everything. When they couldn't throw a question that he didn't have an answer to, they're like, okay, kid, I guess you can go.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that built into it as well. But then, yeah, a lot of personal experience of living in and around Florida. We've lived all over Florida throughout my teen and early 20s. And then I moved to Indiana and met a boy and bought property. And once you buy property in Indiana, you can't go anywhere else. Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of me, a lot of the family, but there's also a whole lot of imagination and a lot of things like I wish I could do.
Right. So when you first started, you realized, like for me, when I realized, wait a minute, there's a whole group. There's like 50 other authors that
Mm-hmm.
have these types of Florida-based things, or diving, boating, islands, all these exotic things. How was that for you as a writer?
It was amazing. Up until that point, I was involved in a lot of writer community things. I had worked for a couple of other fiction writers, writer groups. I had done a lot of work with an author education group, so I knew a ton of writers, but everybody I knew was writing romance. And every time I tried to write romance, somebody ended up dead. So it's fun to read, but it's not my writing vibe. And when I met some of the tropical authors, I'm like, I'm home. I found my crew. And it was really nice to meet people who were writing in the same genre, where we could help each other out. We can ask questions. I can throw I've thrown Cap Daniels some questions about flying. You know, I'm like, hey, this is what I've got. Does this sound about right? And he's like, no, this is what it would look like. Or, you know, you need to do this and that, or this is what the air traffic controller would say. You know, things like that. Having those resources for us to be able to help each other is just amazing. And it's such a good community. Everybody's really helpful and collaborative. And it's like nobody's competitive, which is, I mean, readers can read a whole lot faster than any of us can write, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I've done that with Nick Sullivan. I've sent him. I was like, "Hey, listen, I have this scene with diving, and I haven't been in the ocean since I saw Jaws. So you got to help me a little bit."
Mm-hmm.
And it was right away. Boom! Here's answers to the questions. Then here's all this extra stuff to think about, which actually also helped me with that part of a book. So I was happy for that. I like how a lot of us go to NINC every year in Tampa. That's where you and I got to meet in person. It was cool. Like, you know, last year for me sitting down with Cap Daniels, a couple of him and his wife, and just talking and getting to know.
Yeah.
When I've known Wayne for years. You know, when he was before he was this huge author, he was doing some book signings in Florida and came down and we did a book signing together.
Oh, cool.
On a Tuesday rainy night at a place near the ocean, and I think he got like 2 or 3 sales, and I don't think I got a sale that night. But it's fun to get to know these people. You know, it's fun because they're doing something similar to what you're doing, but it's different enough. Nobody's copying anybody else. Nobody, and like you said, the readers. Have you definitely seen more of a uptick in sales since you joined the group?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I had released one just traditional international thriller prior to meeting everybody, and I mean that one, I'm not sure if it's even in like 8 years that it's been out, if it's even earned back its cover cost. And I don't really tell anybody about it. But yeah, having this community to, you know, share, talk about. I mean, Wayne shouted me out to his readers, and I mean that was an amazing boost. The Tropical Authors newsletter has been great. Every time I put something in there, I get a big boost. And yeah, and I love telling my readers about everybody else because Lord knows I can't write fast enough to keep everybody happy.
Yeah, the Tropical Authors newsletter is great. I'll actually put a link to the website in the description when this goes live. I think
tropicalauthors.com.
Yep, everybody needs to check it out because we're always adding new authors, which I think is great. They're either finding us or you know, Nick Sullivan's out there finding them, and I think that's great that we keep building the community and helping one another and moving along. I think that's really cool. So
yeah, we have a new one actually in the September 1st newsletter. We've got another new one who is a friend of John Cunningham's, and he's got his second book out. And so I love all the new people, and it's just fun.
Then we all kind of glom onto and jump off.
Like, new person.
Yeah, new person. Everything about that person. Let's see what we can take from their brain to us, kind of thing, which I think is fun. I also think it's cool that Wayne always at NINC, whoever's around, you know, there's usually like a dozen of us that are going to NINC every year, and it's like, let's all get together and have a thing. I know David Behrens is a big part of the group, and he's the president of NINC this year. And I know I won't be there early. I won't be there this year, but I know people who are going to be there Tuesday.
Yeah, they're talking about Tuesday.
They're talking about Tuesday night, all getting together and stuff, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of fun. And I've met some really cool people. I mean, I think that's the thing, too. I've met people that I've been able to hang out with at NINC, but I've also been able to go to other things. Like last year, BoucherCon, Douglas Pratt, Nicholas Harvey, they showed up there where you had to hang out with them. So for me, it's a great way to meet other authors that are doing what you're doing. You know, I think that's important.
Yeah, and doing it successfully. That's a lot of the online author community things. I mean, I don't want to disparage anybody, but you get a whole lot of people who haven't published a book yet, and they need support at that level. But then what we're with is people in our genre who have been really successful and who are willing to help people who are rising up. And I love that, rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah, that is true, because especially the authors that are in Ink, there's a sales level you be at. Not a lot of people are ever going to get to that. So I mean that, and for me, it just shows. You know what? I've been doing this. This is my 14th year full time as a writer, and so this is my job. This is my business. This is my brand. And you're right. You go to conventions, you go to conferences, and there's a lot of people that love to say they're a writer. They love the idea of being a writer, but not to just sit down and actually write something. And so when you meet people like you, people like Wayne, people like you guys are doing it. We're all in this together, and we're all treating it with the respect it deserves. And this is a hard business.
It is.
Make a living in.
It really is. And as the industry changes, as the market changes, as AI is starting to come in, it's so important to have a community of people that are really doing it, that are doing the hard work, that are supporting each other, and just even to commiserate when things are hard, because it is really, really, really hard.
Yeah. So for you now, does it, since you've been in it, have things changed? Your perspective on things, as far as, like, say, print books, audiobooks, ebooks? Do you look back and you go, "Wow, it was a different world when I first started doing this"?
Ebook market has changed some. I think it's just become. It's a hard thing, but it's also an easy thing. It's so easy for people to put anything at all up on Amazon that it's, for readers, it's really hard to tell what's going to be good and what's not going to be good, and to find the stuff that's really, really ideal for them. And so I think just the addition of so much more work flooding the market. Because I think when I started in publishing, which was 2013-ish, working with other people, I think the estimates were there was something around 1.5 million books on Amazon, and now it's something like 12 million or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
And so it's just finding the good stuff out of that. Discoverability is just really hard.
Yeah. And even as us as readers, I mean, it's so hard for me to find the books that I like. That's why I enjoy Tropical Authors, because I can go down that list. I can get that newsletter twice a month and go, "Oh, okay, Chris Niles has a new book out." Okay, and and I just start stuffing the Kindle with the new stuff, or the sales and different things. And I'm always telling my wife all the audiobooks, because she listens to audiobooks. I'm always saying, "Oh, this one has this," and so it makes it easier, I guess, in that respect. But you need those people in to know who you are to begin with. That's the
and it's getting connected with the genre group is so important there.
Yeah.
Find your people.
Yeah. Find your people. I always say this business is based on luck. It's based on somebody likes your book enough, and they have 100,000 followers on TikTok or something, and they it's the Colleen Hoover way to make a career, because somebody liked her book and shared, and 1 million people bought her book, and she's the first to admit she didn't do anything magic. There was no special advertising. There was no. As she went on to talk, it was literally people found her, and they kept sharing it and sharing it and sharing it, and it really takes it out of your hands to a point. It's a scary thing.
Yeah, but she had also, I think a lot of people don't realize how much work she did before she hit it big. I mean, I don't remember how many books she had, but it was a lot. She had, several out there. So she had been hustling. She had been doing the work. she'd been keeping it up, and I think that's where I've been struggling the last couple of years, is just keeping the motivation up. I've had a lot of family stuff and health stuff and things that have kept me away from the page.
Mhm.
And I've come back a couple of times to do collaborations in the Less is More Tropical Author series. I've done two of those, and I've done a couple of different pen name projects in other genres just to kind of keep things flowing. But I do really I miss the Tropical Authors group. I miss my Shark Key world, but it's keeping the motivation when things are hard and slow.
Right.
And people like Colleen Hoover, people like, I mean, a lot of the Tropical Authors people have, Wayne has what, 28 books now or something? And just the regular, seeing the success when people are just continuing to grind on and keep it up is really inspiring to me.
Yeah. Sometimes you look at it, and you also need for life. You need to step back.
Yeah.
You lose the momentum, which you can always get back.
Mm-hmm.
We're all beholden to the Amazon every 28 days put a book out, kind of thing, which is completely unrealistic.
Yeah, no, nobody can sustain that. I mean, even the people who can really write fast, and I know people who can literally write a good book in 2 or 3 weeks, like a 70,000 word, knock it out, and then they need a break, and then they go again, and then they need a break, but they can't even keep that pace up forever. People burn out, and there's so much burnout in the community right now.
Yeah, but I'm glad to see that you got the next book you're working on, so that's pretty cool.
Yep, I'm coming back.
Seen that in the newsletter when that gets.
Yep, it will be. It will be. No, I'm not even going to say when, because if I say when, then something terrible is going to happen, and
Don't jinx.
I'm not jinxing.
All right, so last couple questions. So for you,
well, can I ask you a question first?
Okay, go ahead.
Multi-genre. I know you write some disparate genre stuff. I mean, you've got your tropical thriller, you've got horror. I mean, you've got a lot of stuff that doesn't traditionally cross readerships. How do you do that?
I learned years ago that it's more of I was like, I'm just going to write horror books and that's it. And I have all these crime thriller ideas, and I have all these tropical author ideas, and I have nonfiction books I want to write. I have supernatural stuff I want to write. I have cosmic horror I want to write. And then I started writing them and kind of just throwing them out there, and I realized that my core reader likes my voice, not necessarily what genre I'm writing in, because they're all stories, they're all characters, they're all moving along. So, and a couple of readers that have been reading me like from the beginning, like 2009, buying my stuff, it doesn't matter what genre I'm putting it out. I just put out a cosmic horror book a couple weeks ago, and then doing great on the sales of it, because it's the voice. I finally found my voice after all these years. So I think that's really what it is. And there's a little bit of, you kind of mix and match with genres, and I'm not going to sit down and write romance, but there might be some romantic things in the book. I'm like you. I'd rather kill everybody than have them happily ever after. But I think for me, like that's what it is. Once you find your readership, once you find those people that like what you write, not because I only read tropical author stuff, but because I like what you do. I like what you do with characters, what you do with plot, and I think then that's that hurdle. I know if I put a book out, in my mind, there's X number of sales I'm going to get on that book, which would just
regardless of what genre it is.
Regardless of the genre, I know I have my core. You're looking for your core, your first 1,000 readers. That's what and so I don't think I'm anywhere near that 1,000 readers yet, but I think I'm getting pretty darn close. Cool. That I know I can release a book and I'm comfortable. I can pay back for the cover, for the editing, for the formatting. I know I can make a couple dollars within 3 or 4 months. I know all that stuff's been covered, and now it's all just,
Mhm.
profit, and I can help pay the bills in the house.
Always helpful.
Yeah, that's always nice. All right, my questions.
Okay.
Uh, who are some of two or three? Who are some of the thriller writers that inspired you to write in the first place?
I mean, there are all of the kind of cliche ones, the ones that everybody grew up reading. But I'm going to say, oddly, the weird author that really told me I can do this was when I read Jimmy Buffett's Where is Joe Merchant?
Okay.
Because it was hilarious and awful and magical. And it was like, okay, and I mean, yeah, he's got a big name and he's got people who will buy anything that he writes, but you could read it. I mean, it was fun. And I'm like, I could do that. Carl Hyacin is probably another one. I mean, his take on Florida. And then I'm going to go cliche and say John D. McDonald. I mean, the Travis McGee books are just the core of. I mean, we all grew up on them, and when I go back and read them now, and especially the early ones, he's writing these in the '60s. And he saw 1000% what has happened in Florida with development and how the state has changed, often not for the better.
Right.
And I feel a little guilty because my family was part of that, but because we moved there in '81. But those books, I mean, the stories are tight. And to know that he just plopped down at his kitchen table and just typed until a book was done, and then sat down at his kitchen table and typed until another book was done, and just kept rocking them out. People talk about how people shouldn't be able to write a book in 4 weeks. Well, John D. McDonald did it for 22 books or something.
Yeah.
And then all the ones that weren't in the series. So he's probably another core inspiration for me.
And I think that he's like, that's the template, right, for what we're doing as tropical authors.
Mm-hmm.
You always the old Stephen King thing where you got to read. If you don't read in your genre, you don't know the genre. And I think as a tropical author, I'm sure if we pulled all 50 tropical authors, 48 out of 50 will
say John D.
Because
I think the hardest thing is to not repeat things that he's done. The hardest thing is, after having read all of them, to not accidentally plagiarize.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's inspiration it's impossible to completely copy something like that. It's like, I mean, my voice is so incredibly different.
Right.
My perspective is different. So even if I take the same story beats, I mean, I've got a freebie for my readers that's basically Die Hard on a boat. And I sat down and I watched Die Hard 3 times and I wrote down all the story beats. And the book is still, if you read it, you wouldn't, it's a novella and you wouldn't look at it and say, this is Die Hard on a boat.
Right,
because it ended up so different.
Right.
So, but yeah, I'm always afraid that I'm going to accidentally just repeat something.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have any original ideas anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it is what it is. So, who are some of the authors, the thriller authors now that you're reading that you think more people should know about?
I read. I'm sorry, I just glitched out. I'm thinking about. I read something recently, and I've been reading outside of thriller a lot. But adjacent to thriller, Louise Penny. The Gamache series, it's mystery rather than thriller. It's got a lot of thriller elements, and I absolutely love how she develops characters, even within a fully genre book or a storyline and a series.
It's a great main character, Armand.
Yeah, Armand Gamache he's so much of procedural and thriller and mystery are all so plot driven.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, to the point where I've seen people say, well, thrillers don't need character development. And she brings it so much interiority and so much intuition. And it's not about the procedure and this clue leads to this and that. He's got so much emotion and feeling. And I love Gamache. I mean, I can't say Jack Reacher because Lee Child, because everybody already reads him. But if people haven't, people who have picked up on it from the Amazon series, right. It's probably one of the most true series. And I would say go back and read the books, because as good as the series is, the books are better. As far as tropical authors, the Nicks, I really, really love the Nicks, Nick Sullivan and Nicholas Harvey. They've been my two buds since the beginning. And because we all write female diver characters, I really, really love theirs. I know you've talked to Nicholas Harvey. Have you had Sullivan on?
No, I haven't had Nick Sullivan on yet. But he's on the list. Once I get past, I have VoucherCon, and then I have Nink 2 weeks later, and then like October on, I said to my wife, let's not book anything. Let's just relax, and then I can do a bunch of these interviews. But yeah, Nick Sullivan on that list.
Yeah, and Nate Van Coops is another one he's new into the group. He's written a lot of other stuff. I've known him forever. He's written a lot of other stuff, but he's gotten into the tropical flying oriented, and he's a pilot, and his stuff has a lot of authenticity. So I'd say as far as new people that people probably haven't seen, I would go for Nate Van Coops.
Yeah, when we went to dinner that night, I had you on my left and I had Nate on my left. I had Wayne in front of me. It was a good dinner to pick people's brains and talk. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that was just before. I think he was just starting his first book.
Yeah, he just kind of popped in, and last year he was at Nink and he asked a lot of questions, and we kind of had a bunch of different authors sitting out in the lobby and talking about thrillers and different things, and he had a bunch of questions, which was good. So he sounds like he wants to learn. He wants to get out there and do more stuff, which I think is great. You need that. You need those people that, me as an old man, I'm like, shut up, young kid. But then you're like, you know what? No, I need that push. I need to get out there. I need to think outside the box of what we're doing, which I think is really good. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Hopefully,
thanks for having me.
Hopefully, we will see each other in person again down the line, and get that next book out, and then everybody read her stuff. It's really good. I enjoy it, which is
thank you.
Something, right? That's always good. That I actually like your work. That's why I invited you on.
Thank you.
So,
and I like yours. So there we go.
There we go. All right, good.
Mutual admiration society.
All right. Thanks for coming on, and I will talk to you later.
All right. Thank you.